There are those who consider Peter Jackson's film adaptation of Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings trilogy to be the finest thing in the medium. There are so many masturbatory appraisals to be read of Jackson's opus, seemingly the first film trilogy to be as good, and as action and VFX packed at least, sorry Satyajit Ray, as it was. The 2000s, especially for those who spent time on IMDb, was full of excessive adoration for this film trilogy. It was more beloved than even the original Star Wars trilogy had been, in many respects. After all, even Star Wars had a Return of the Jedi. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Return of the Jedi, but Ewoks, Northern Californian forests, lazy production choice, and it's no Return of the King, obviously. Not to mention, Star Wars had suffered from a much maligned second trilogy, some of it warranted, some of it reactionary twiddle, but certainly part of it warranted. The trilogy was described as a euphoria which was never disappointing, never not perfect, never not the greatest experience of all time, better than your threesome fantasies, nothing in cinema could ever hope to compare. I have to be honest, the only time when I truly unequivocally feel this way and am hopelessly enchanted as these folks are, is during the runtime of the opening film, 2001's The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. As far as I'm concerned, really was that good. When I watched Fellowship, I couldn't agree more with the laudatory raving hype. The Fellowship of the Ring is a miracle, deserving of where the Lord of the Rings films were placed in the IMDb Top 250 circa 2007 or so, say 2025. I am not ashamed to potentially, at least initially, consider placing the Fellowship of the Ring as high as this on my favourite films list. It would probably never quite reach that height. I've seen far too many films for me to really actually think it would make it to that particular tier of a hypothetical list, maybe. But yes, The Fellowship of the Ring, at least, is the flawless, incomparable masterpiece that the entire trilogy is claimed to be. I am really moved by the experience. I do happen to consider The Two Towers and The Return of the King to be very exemplary film experiences also, but flawless? Every moment involving and absorbing and inspiring and notable euphoria? I don't know. Every scene in Fellowship of the Ring makes me happy, I could claim. The Two Towers is a completely amazing film. The Return of the King is a magnificent or inspiring event, although, I don't know. I will say now, parts of The Two Towers and The Return of the King, even most of their runtimes, and I am considering and specifically referring to these films' extended editions, just to be totally clear, are as good as Fellowship's entirety, although there are far too many so-so, less or just wasted scenes in both of these films compared with the, as I said, entirety of The Fellowship of the Ring. So when I watched the trilogy, I am most elated during The Fellowship of the Ring, although slightly disappointed that the trilogy didn't improve as individual films as they really ought to have. It would have been just so nice if they had. As I say, I love The Two Towers a lot, although I wouldn't consider it an Empire Strikes Back in this instance. Its climax is, of course, beyond brilliant and spellbinding, we all know that, and then The Return of the King, a superior experience to The Two Towers, I might personally suggest, is a lift into higher enjoyment for the final entry of the trilogy here. But only The Fellowship of the Ring was really that good. That good. As everyone claimed, only Fellowship of the Ring really was that high, in my mind.